Okay.
Hey guys, good morning, Facebook. Hey, welcome. We're here at Company Joe. We got a nice crowd here, and just want to show you guys a little bit. Things are going very good. We got a little 8 a.m. morning breakfast here, and we're going to get started here. People just coming out, and they're just passing out business cards, having a little breakfast, and you got it, George. And we're going to get going here with Mr. Michael Glazier. Mike, go ahead. Mike, just go ahead. Good morning, guys. Good morning, guys. Good morning
here, everybody.
Just go ahead.
Put it on the tripod, Joe.
Put on a tripod?
Put it on the tripod.
Oh my God. Thanks, Bob. Hey, can you give me that?
Yeah, we don't
Just go ahead, Mike. We're listening, brother.
Everyone, welcome.
Welcome,
we're
welcome.
gonna talk a little bit about our health
Why
today.
do that, Jay?
Mostly for CBD. How many people here, just for reference, have heard of CBD or have some idea what CBD is? CBD. It's very common. It's CBD is derived from cannabis, which is often most people think of cannabis and they think of having some happy days.
Yeah.
However, CBD, that's THC, that makes people high and has the psychic or the effect of getting high. And THC does have healing properties, but because of its effects, it's also very highly regulated and illegal in most states. But CBD is very beneficial. And a little bit of my background, I mean, I grew up, I was going to be an airline pilot, and it was a very difficult field to get into at the time. And so if you had any record of drug arrests in your past, you weren't getting in. So I was also an athlete. So I wanted to perform very well. I went on, got to play in college. So again, I was very conscious of what I was putting into my body. So I'm one of the few people I know who's never touched cannabis in my life. I mean, just up to the point.
All right. Little comedy. Little comedy here.
Can you really count? You're like, yeah, that person who's a baby boomer or younger has never touched marijuana. And I still to this day have not touched marijuana. Now hemp I have touched. It's a very big background. 5-6 years ago, first saw posts on Facebook about the healing properties of marijuana. It'll do this, and I'm like, oh great, the hippies are having fun, right? It took a while before I became a believer, and I happened to befriend a couple who are very into health, and they've been traveling the world teaching health for years. And with my friendship with them, they showed me how to cure my son's allergies. He had pollen allergies. They were bothering him every night. And my wife and I'm not a big fan of going to the pharmaceutical companies to get their answers either, because they're like, yeah, great, you won't sneeze anymore, but your arm might fall off, right?
Yeah.
Your liver's going to stop working. Your kidneys are going to stop working. There's some very drastic effects what pharmaceuticals can cause. And if you listen to the fine print at the end of all those commercials, you'd be like, why should you take that? So, but we didn't want to send them on a lifetime prescription for these pharmaceuticals. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to call Kylie and see what she says. And she, first thing out of her mouth was, oh, your son's not digesting his milk, wheat, and dairy. And kind of went, what? My son was born with an allergy to milk, wheat, and dairy. He would have it and get sick. We were told he'd outgrow it. Well, his body gained mass, metastasized, and it metastasized itself later on as allergies. She told us what to do, and he was cured. Well, I'm talking to him and met up with them. They were in town, and we're talking. They're like, "You got to try CBD," and I'm like, "If I'm going to try CBD, these are the people I'm going to trust for CBD." I mean, you basically extended my son's life. I'll try it, and I tried it, and I've always had brain fog and ADD issues that I refuse to go get a prescription to go fill, because don't even get me started. People I know are suicidal from Adderall. So, and truly suicidal. It's sad. And so I tried it, and I couldn't believe, like, half the night I was like, my brain was so clear, I didn't know if I was high. I'm like, was there THC in that? I mean, it was the opening in my mind, and just being able to see things and remember things, and being aware in a level I hadn't been aware in so long that I can't remember. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I like this CBD. Beyond that, I mean, people now since then have been able to help sleep at night, get rid of headaches, especially my daughter. I have a daughter who's very smart, and her brain's going. She can't shut it off. and she's a kid. How many adults are like that? And when you go to bed at night, you're just sitting there thinking about the next day, going, oh my God, I got this. Even after you write down on a pad of paper, you know, try to get it out. Some people, it just, we're going. We're in a fight or flight society. Oh, I got to be at Cup of Joe's by 8 o'clock in the morning. Cup of Joe's over. I got to get to work by this time for a meeting. I got to get over here. That's fight or flight. Our bodies aren't meant for that. We're meant for homeostasis. We're meant to come back to a relaxed level where we can enjoy eating and we can sit and not constantly be stimulated. And that's one of the benefits of CBD, among other things. So, a couple of things also going back on the history now. History of cannabis in the United States. It's kind of cute, the Thomas W. Jefferson composer. Obviously not Thomas Jefferson, our former president and writer of the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence on hemp paper. Hemp is a very important part of actually U.S. history. It was very used in industry. It had made a lot of enemies and people who wanted to have more control. Right? Isn't that how things work? I mean, our society was moving to a point where science was going to figure out everything. Right? We were going to be able to have an entire meal in a pill. Right? Everything was George Jetson future. Everything was going to be synthetic, and science was going to take care of it. And so they started to make hemp a demon. There were in all cannabis, marijuana, hemp. And so in 1937, the Marijuana Act passed, and it was illegal to grow hemp or marijuana in the United States. I have a picture. My great-grandfather had a farm by Aurora, and he has a picture with his last crop of hemp in the 1930s, and I have that at home. So my family used to grow hemp. It was major for industry. Well, as time went on, we got to the 60s, and more companies, more politics came into it. In 1964, they made it illegal to research any cannabis plant at all in the United States. No researching cannabis. Well, fortunately, there's a little country called Israel that picked up the ball. And they said, hey, there might be something here. We're going to run with this. So they ran with it. In the 1990s, they discovered we have what they call an endocannabinoid system within our body. And the endocannabinoid system does a lot of things within our body to help different parts of our body communicate. It helps our endocrine, our neurological systems, all these systems in our body start to communicate with each other. Because if you think about it, I guess it's kind of like, you know, an iPhone communicating with an Android, communicating with a PC, communicating with Linux. These different computer languages, a central body that helps them communicate so they can all work together. So that helps our body work together, helps reduce inflammation, and a lot of other things. And that's part of why the benefits of CBD seem so wild, because some people have a pain in their foot that they've had since forever. They don't know why, but it goes away. Somebody gets in an accident, and they're like, I've had this debilitating pain from my accident for 20 years. And all of a sudden, sometimes in hours, it's gone. And then other people like me, that I've had this brain fog, or people are just stressed, or psychosis. They have people who are having seizures. You know, how many people here know people who've died as a result of a seizure?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's life-saving. You know, I used to babysit a kid. He died and he had a seizure and died in the middle of it. So, you know, these kinds of things are amazing what CBD can do. My cheating notes over here. So we covered it helps with pain, anxiety, cancer, all right? There's a lot of talk with CBD and cancer. And I don't know how many people here know people who have cured people organically with cancer. It happens. It is not taken lightly. It's not like, oh, cool, I'm just gonna, you know, take CBD and it's gonna cure my cancer. It's one of those things, don't eat bacon. You know, you're not gonna have bacon, you're not having pizza, the diet's almost as painful as chemotherapy for some people, right? Because we're addicted to our food, let's face it.
Absolutely. It's all about the food.
You know, but there are some forms of cancer people are having success with. If you leave this country where you won't have chemotherapy, and they have a very high success rate. There are doctors that have left prestigious university hospitals in the U.S. and they go to these clinics because they're tired of the chemotherapy and the radiation therapy and the side effects. And you know, they found a better way, but they can't do it in the United States. It's too expensive to prove CBD will cure cancer. It's hundreds of millions of dollars. And who's going to profit off of that? Who's going to collect that profit?
Yeah.
You know, I love capitalism, but one of the shortcomings of capitalism is we've created a system where it's so expensive to create that proof that this is an acceptable method for medicine that natural elements don't have. Another thing it helps a lot with is leaky gut. Leaky gut's kind of an interesting phenomenon because it shows in lots of different ways. I mean, some people it's just a simple forms of indigestion, we'll say. You know, runs to the bathroom, things like that, that helps with. But other places, your gut is your second brain. So sometimes the mental functions that it helps with is really just helping in your stomach. I don't know if you hear watch Dr. Oz all the time, but he's talked about it. There's a lot of nerve endings and things in our gut, and biome in our gut is very important to your thinking. Some people who are very angry or have issues, amazingly enough, if they can correct their biome in their stomach and get it the way it's supposed to be, they actually become a lot nicer people. One of my son is like that. I have a son like that. It's really crazy. I know when he hasn't been eating well because, you know, he is really mean to his siblings, and it's like, okay, hold on. We're correcting some things in what's going on, and then he becomes as happy as getting it. It's absolutely unreal how that can affect it. All right, that's pretty much everything on CBD as a whole, but now we got to talk about what CBD's out there. All right, there's CBD. I did be here watching NBC News a couple nights ago. They did a thing on CBD where they took a bunch of CBDs off the shelf, and half of them didn't even have CBD in them. There's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of food. It's just oil with nothing in it. So sometimes people take a CBD product, they go, it didn't affect me. Well, it didn't even have CBD in it. You take the hemp plant. Well, that hemp plant, they'll take it and they'll put chemicals in it, they'll apply pressure and heat, and they'll pull different CBDs out. There's over 200 different CBDs in a hemp plant. That doesn't include the CBGs, the CBNs, the terpenes, all these other elements that work synergistically to help create these healing conditions within our body. So most of what's out there will help some people. You know, the stuff that's just CBD out there might help some people. You know, it might just help somebody go to sleep, but it doesn't help somebody with a leaky gut because it doesn't have the right combinations of CBDs. And even THC, it does have healing benefits. A cannabis plant is hemp if it has less than 0.3% THC. All right, THC, remember, is the psychedelic. I don't want to say psychedelic, but the high element of what's in a cannabis plant. Well, 0.3%, to give you guys an idea, is about 2% of what's in marijuana. Marijuana is 15 to 20% THC. So you're lucky 1/50th of what's marijuana. So there's no high in hemp. You know, another thing you guys know me from my previous presentation, I tend to promote raw food. All right, eat more raw. So it's not eat all raw, but understand vitamin C from an orange is better than vitamin C from a vitamin pill, correct? I mean, can anybody really argue with that? The vitamin C in that orange, that natural vitamin C, will do better than a vitamin pill. Well, there's not nearly as much vitamin C in that orange because it's natural vitamin C, so you don't need as much to go in. So when you have these different CBD, CBG, CBNs, and terpenes working together, they have a magnified effect on how much they'll help your body and the variety of things that help your body. So if you can find a hemp that's raw and whole, it's even better. When it's in an oil, how many people here are, you know, oil? Well, our bodies are mostly water, right? Who's mixed oil and water? They don't mix.
Ooh.
So you take CBD through an oil, it has a hard time getting into your body. So if you can find it in more water-based, water-compatible, it absorbs much faster, and you want it to absorb through your mouth, because when you get a CBD pill, the World Health Organization even has noted that CBD taken by a pill goes through the stomach. Your stomach will destroy 90 to 95% of the CBD that's in that pill. So it's not getting into your blood to where it can help. So it's very important that you pick a good CBD. And lucky for you guys, I brought a good CBD.
Awesome.
I was going to have to mainline it.
So,
You said free samples?
free samples. So everybody wants a free sample. We have a really good CBD for you guys to try. And we'll do it 2 ways. You get a drop on the back of your hand so you can taste it, because it tastes like the plant. A very strong taste. Some people like it, some people don't. And then the second one, we put a drop in water so you can see it go into the water and not, you can see it's not an oil. It goes into the water and it mixes in and dissolves. It disappears entirely. So, absolutely. So everybody who wants a CBD sample, we make it around afterwards. And you get some.
Awesome.
All right. So
Okay.
thank you guys very much.
Hey, Mike, do you want to take any questions or anything like that? Any questions for Mike? Awesome presentation, guys.
Yeah.
I guess the question I would ask, how do you overcome the objection of, hey, even though you told me what this is, I don't like putting things in my body.
Sure.
You know, how can you assure me that this is not going to cause something else?
I will say, I guess over the long term of cannabis use in this country, what have they really associated for long-term illness? They say, well, you know, it was called the gateway drug to other drugs, and we all know plenty of people who probably smoked, you know, regularly, but never moved on to other drugs. All right, so we can say that. But how many people have gone to the hospital and they have sickness from? They go, oh, that's from marijuana use. What is the marijuana use that people end up in the hospital for over long-term use? I don't know.
Much.
If I may,
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
a testimonial, I bought some and my mom's been on it for a month and she's very happy with it.
Wow.
Yours, I don't know what else is out there, but she sleeps better, her knees don't ache as much, she's not as nervous, you know, calling 4 different people for the same thing anymore, and she's mid-70s, so so far, thank you.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome. Those are great stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Don.
So you said it tastes like plant. Some
Tastes like the
people
plant.
might be turned off by it. Can you add it to other food to kind of hide the taste?
Yes.
Besides water.
You can add the food. Actually, I put it in Jello. That's how my oldest daughter. That's how she takes it. I put a half a dose in a little. It's a Jello shot, really.
Everyone likes Jello shots.
Oh,
And
yeah, Jello shot.
It's okay to give my daughter Jello shots?
Oh, with Dad's permission,
There's no
of course.
alcohol in those Jello shots, but it's I call them CBD shots. So yeah, it'll mix into any liquid. I do recommend keeping it out of an artificially carbonated liquid,
Right.
like a pop or a cola soda,
Right.
sparkling water, because the CO2 kills enzymes, and
Yep.
part of what helps your food digest your food, I covered that, is enzymes that are actually already in the food. So I would keep it out of carbonated beverages, unless it's like a kombucha.
But you can add it to like a smoothie.
But yeah, absolutely,
Yes.
you can add it to a smoothie. You can, I mean, if you drop it in water, when you put it in your hand, and then you also have you taste the water, like it's almost non-existent in the water.
Right.
You can taste the water, but it's just the water, but it really, because it's so water compatible, that the taste just dissipates in that water.
Nice.
Can you overdose? Can your body overdose on CBD? So you take a small percentage, right?
Right.
You said a half dose in your Jello shots.
Right.
What happens if you take too much?
Well, it depends. If you have what they call an isolate CBD, where they use heat and chemicals to pull the CBD out, you can have so much CBD it loses its effect. So it'd be like you took none and you just wasted $10 taking too much CBD. When you have a whole plant CBD, because it works so symbiotically, you plateau on how much it's going to help. You know, it'll only help up to a certain
So
point.
it cannot hurt you.
Yeah, it won't hurt you.
Okay.
You can eat the whole plant. Hemp used to be food before. In the 1800s, George Washington was a big fan of eating hemp as a nutritional food. So, yes.
Will it disqualify me from competing in the Olympics? The reason why I'm asking
That's a good question. No, because
the reason why I'm asking that is that right now I work with a lot of clients who are athletes, and they are in competition, and they're going to get chemically tested.
Right.
So my question is, does it mess up their chemical testing?
Nobody I know of that has been tested with this has tested positive for THC because of such a small amount. I do know one person, it was a different product they took that did have some THC, and this person who was suicidal from Adderall, and he's in and out of the hospital all the time, and he did test positive for a trace amount off of a CBD product, but it wasn't ours, it was somebody else's product, so I don't know if he took a lot of it. I don't, if he took the whole bottle, I don't know his exact situation. I know nobody's tested positive on ours. That's known yet, yes.
Are you saying people are using this for their pets as well?
Yes, people use this for pets. The pets start running around, pets have seizures, pets have all kinds of issues. Pets have stress. You have a young cat that likes to claw a lot. It's great for that because they're usually
Dogs
stressed
have
out.
separation anxiety in dogs.
Yeah, separation anxiety in pets. It's great for them.
What's the average cost per day?
CBDs will run anywhere from, you can find them really cheap. Might be a few bucks a dose to, you can pay $8-9 a dose for CBD. So this one runs $2 a dose. Now a dose, it varies from person to person. For me and my mental clarity, I've learned that my diet also affects it. So if I'm good about eating, I'll have like a dose a day. If I have a lot of sweets and things like that, then I can go 3 doses a day.
How much is the dose?
Dose in this is about $2.
No, I mean as far as.
This is 2 drops for a dose. A lot of them are a whole dropper. So you'll see a small bottle like this for $70, but there's 10 doses in it, 15 doses.
Gotcha.
So, all right. There were a couple more questions I want to hit real quick. Yes.
Hey, Lee.
I have previously purchased one for a cat I had a few years ago with cancer that was specifically for pets. So you're saying this kind, it's for both human and pets?
Yes.
You don't have to...
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. If they said it was specifically for pets, it's probably just a marketing thing.
Yeah, probably.
Might have had
Or
some
maybe-
flavoring that they would have
Exactly.
liked.
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned that it's not compatible with CO2 beverages, with carbonated beverages.
Right.
Are there any standard medications that people will have to take no matter what that would be incompatible with also taking CBD to treat something else? Any big cases?
None
you
that I
would
know
think
of. None that I know of.
Okay.
I do know that some medications and CBD use a similar enzyme from the liver to break down.
Okay.
So I do know that it can compete with the effectiveness of some, but if it's using the same enzyme to break it down, probably doing the same thing. So, okay. I think that's it. So, thank you guys.
And real quick, Mike, how can we get in touch with you for the viewers watching here, right here?
Find me in Facebook or
It's your phone number,
Michael Gates,
contact?
or my phone number is 847-494-9533. Give me a call.
Thank you.
Glad to help you out.
All right, Mike. Thank you. Great.